This is St. Louis on the Air from St. Louis Public Radio. I'm Elaine Cha. The 2024-2025 school year at St. Louis Public Schools has gotten off to a very rocky start. 6 weeks in, questions around reliable student transportation and district finances continue to swirl. Issues involving student enrollment numbers are also part of the mix, and just last week, the SLPS board voted to fire now former Superintendent Keisha Scarlett and move Millicent Borishade from interim to acting superintendent for what's left of this school year. STLPR reporter Lacretia Wimbley spoke with Borishade on Monday about the district's problems, and she joins us now to talk with us about that. Lacretia, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Elaine.
So let's talk about an issue that arose even before this school year started, and that's transportation. As a reminder, what specific problems were there in getting students to and from school, Lacretia?
Sure. So the school district's main transportation vendor, the Missouri Central School Bus Company, ended its contract early this past spring. And so that left the district in a bind for finding transportation vendors. And so in the last few months, the school district has been just finding and hiring various vendors that drive vans, other school bus company vendors like the First Student and Extra Care Services. But yeah, they've been working to find different vendors to get kids to school, whether that's by van, and also providing like bus passes for kids to get on Metro Transit, and also providing gas cards to families that choose to carpool or just take their kids to school.
And there's some taxis and things too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So with this very uncertain patchwork of transportation and the vendors that the district has been able to contract with, still these transportation-related problems continue. And did Borishade have anything to say about how the district is resolving these problems?
Yeah, so with some of those vendors that we just, talked about, like they've been seen running red lights. Some of the vendors have expired license plates. And there's been also concerns that sometimes the kids don't always have seatbelts on, stuff like that. And some of those issues are still continuing, apparently. Another issue that parents have complained about is some of the vendor vans or the taxis arriving late to school. And some of the buses arrive late, too, sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, Borishade pretty much spoke to that just a little bit, and she said that they're still working to address those issues, and that they're relying on the community to, if you see something, say something type deal. Yeah.
So the district's finances have also been under very close scrutiny. Here's how Borishade explained going from a surplus of $17 million to a deficit of $35 million.
There were COVID relief funds that have sunset at this time. And so now we are doing planned deficit spending, where we know that we're going to be spending at least $11 million on transportation. We have $32 million that we're spending on competitive salaries. And then we have $6.5 million in new initiatives. And those new initiatives include Literacy for the Lou, our classroom libraries, our school libraries. And summer school took place for 6 weeks instead of 4. We also have Saturday school, which is for our students to ensure that they are getting the support that they need in order to maintain the credits for graduation. All of these new initiatives are done to benefit our students, all of them.
And so clearly it should benefit the students, but do those numbers add up?
Yeah, so all of the numbers that she just listed out, they definitely add up to more than $35 million, which is what the projected deficit is for the school year. But it's my understanding that those different initiatives and transportation and other things that she mentioned, that those don't equal like the total sum of the deficit. Those are just some of the things that the district is and has been having to put more money towards, which has contributed to the deficit.
Mm-hmm. So more on numbers. There's also been news regarding a discrepancy in reported and actual student enrollment numbers. And when you asked Borishade about that, she broke things down this way.
We get that number as far back as the year before. So April 2024, we would have had our projected numbers. That will include students who have tested in our gifted program. That will include students who have said they want to come to St. Louis Public Schools. And then when we start the school year, we look for all of those students who said they were coming. Then after a certain number of days, then they are no longer enrolled. And so that becomes the number that we report to DESE.
So, Lacretia, did Borishade follow any of that up with notes about how lower than projected student enrollment might affect district funding and then, in turn, obviously affect students?
Sure. So she didn't get into talking about how low student projections, enrollment projections impact district funding. But she did explain that the projected numbers aren't just being pulled out of thin air essentially by her or other district leaders, that they use their pupil accounting system to get those numbers from at least the year before the coming school year. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, she didn't really get into how projections or even say that projections impact enrollment, but we do know that the day-to-day enrollment, generally speaking, does impact some funding.
Okay. Well, and I would gather that the issues with transportation are also related in this cycle to the number of students who are actually able to get to school, to stay there, and then to get home. Lacretia, after that interview, what was a question that remained for you?
I'm definitely still curious to know more about the district's vendor vetting process and about what some of the basic requirements are for vendors or drivers that may be individually hired. What are the basic requirements that they need to meet to drive students to and from school?
Yeah.
Those questions definitely still remain for me.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder about the school board. What about that?
Yeah. So school board has yet to release the details about the internal or third-party investigation that began 2 months ago, where investigators are looking into Keisha Scarlett's hiring practices and other personnel matters within the district. Mm-hmm. And so regarding the school board, I currently have a sunshine request just waiting to be fulfilled now for those records.
So there's more to come.
Yeah, definitely.
Lacretia Wimbley is a reporter for St. Louis Public Radio. Lacretia, thank you so much for talking with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Elaine.
This episode was produced by Alex Hoyer and Emily Woodbury.
And by Maya Norfleet.
Audio engineering and podcast design by Aaron Dorr.
Our executive producer is Alex Hoyer.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations, and leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thank you.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
The Gateway brings you the day's news each weekday from around the St. Louis region and the state capitals in Jefferson City.
Our schools are accredited. We don't need this bill.
And Springfield.
How many more years must pass before lawmakers see time is of the essence?
I'm Abby Larico. Join me each weekday for The Gateway on the STLPR app or wherever you get podcasts.